blue Syracuse spring game. A great look
Yeah, no doubt about it. Again, I said it earlier, I think top to bottom, best conference in the country with quarterback play, and so this defense is going to have their hands full next year.
So meet Brady Denneberg out of Merritt Island, Florida, in your neck of the woods down outside Orlando. He's got big shoes to fill. I mean, replacing a Lou Groza Award winner and Andre Schmidt, but these coaches are really high on Denneberg.
Well, the thing they love about him is he was a quarterback in high school, very athletic, had the opportunity to go to some colleges and play quarterback, chose to come here to Syracuse and be a kicker.
Max von Marburg, the punter, he returns as a sophomore, but there's been a competition this spring. Jack Stonehouse to transfer from Missouri, and those two have gone punch for punch all spring, two really talented punters.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see any punting tonight, but if we did, I guarantee you there'd be some balls hitting the roof because these guys can bomb it.
Yeah, there's Stonehouse there, the transfer from Missouri. He's got quite the leg, and you'll hear more about him with our sit-down with special teams coordinator, Coach Lig, Bob Ligashevsky.
Coach, really appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us. You know, spring practice, you get 15 of these. Give us an insight what you've been looking to accomplish on the special teams front.
Yeah, on the special teams, we've been trying to develop a core group of guys that are going to be involved in all four phases. Punt return, kickoff return. So we've been more competition, live drills, you know, to see guys how they're going to compete in order to be the group of guys that we're going to count on all four phases during the fall.
And how's the intensity been when you talk about competition?
Yeah, it's been really good. You know, the kids have bought into the competition, have fun with it. Don't want to look bad on tape because the next day they know that we're going to show it in front of the team.
It's never easy when you're trying to replace a Lou Groza Award winner as your place kicker, losing Andre Schmidt. What's that process been like?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, he was a great player. You know, Lou Groza Award winner. We feel like we have a really good young prospect in Brady Denneberg. He's had a good spring, positive spring. But again, we'll see how the transition develops through the summer and the fall.
And then you look at punter, you bring in an SEC talent in Jack Stonehouse from Missouri. We were talking with Coach Babers earlier, and he said that he's hitting the ceiling when you go into the indoor facility.
Yeah, it's been a really good competition. You know, and Jack's been impressive. You know, he has a live leg, and the ball jumps off his foot. But again, the same thing through the spring. He has developed as the guy that's been taking the reps with the ones. But again, that competition will continue to as we go into the fall.
Yeah, we still have a lot of practice and football in front of us before we kick it off in September. Kind of take us through what that looks like. We leave you kind of sneak peek here in the spring, but what happens next?
Yeah, we compete through the spring, you know, and then the young men will finish the semester through their finals. They'll get a chance to go home for a little bit, and then we'll come back through the summer and be able to do some workouts with those guys as the rules have changed. And then we'll get into training camp, and then we'll finalize our competition and to continue to progress towards who's going to be the guys that will be playing for us in the fall.
A good look inside Syracuse special teams. Coach, appreciate the time.
Jay, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Great to hear from all three coordinators and the head coach, Dino Babers. We'll hear from Garrett Schrader coming up as the orange and blue game kicks off next. Back here at the 2023 Syracuse spring game, Rini Angolia, Jay Alter with you. So instead of dividing into two teams, the orange team is the offense and the blue team is the defense. That makes it really easy. Garrett Schrader, quarterback one, did not participate in the 15 spring practices, so instead it's the backup quarterback, Justin Lampson. Take a look at the format, Rini, and explain this for our viewers, because this is a non-traditional spring game today.
Well, and a lot of teams are doing this now because they're resting players, right? So it's just kind of offense first, defense. You see 2 40-minute halves, no scoring. There is ACC officials down here. They'll blow the whistle, they'll spot the ball, they'll call penalties, but they don't really want it going live, right? You want to keep everyone healthy. It's been really physical, by the way, for their spring practices. They're just not going to be super physical tonight.
And priority number one is safety, keep everybody healthy for the fall. And if you're reading into Justin Lamson getting the first couple of snaps here, don't, because Dino Babers told us Lamson and Carlos Del Rio Wilson have split the QB1 reps 50-50. It's just that Del Rio Wilson took the last snap of practice the other day, so now it's Lamson who starts. He's gone to LaQuint Allen on back-to-back plays. A lot of eyes on the sophomore out of New Jersey coming out of that backfield.
Yeah, and he found Gatson early, too. The thing I like about Lamson there, he went through his progressions, right? He's going 1, 2 to 3. Boom, check it down. Don't hold it. Don't get a sack. Check it down to Allen and get positive yards, pick up a first down. I like that.
Lamson out of El Dorado Hills, California, missed last season with an ACL injury. Great to see him back on the field and healthy. And Dino Babers blows the whistle here. I love the Hawaiian shirt on Coach Babers too.
Yeah, going back to his roots. Why not?
Played his college football. Actually on defense, even though he's an offensive guru, going right back to Gadsden. And that's no secret. That is no doubt the top target for Syracuse this year.
And again, we talked about it early. He's a matchup problem for defenses. You know, he's a tight end, but he runs like a wide receiver. He's tall. He's got great hands. And again, I really think the offense is going to kind of go through him in that passing game.
That was a gain of 9 by Gadsden, his second reception in only 4 plays. You mentioned earlier matchup nightmare. There's going to be a lot of ACC defensive coaches watching this over the course of the summer thinking, how do we stop that guy? Because he's such a mismatch.
And Gadsden plays that position that NFL teams rule over, right? A tight end that you can still put some girth on him, right? He can still get bigger, so he can be an inline tight end, but you can put him in the slot, and it's just problems for defensive backs.
We've talked a lot of offense. Good test for the defense here, 3rd and 1. Put 5 on the line, trying to stop LaQuint Allen. Can't do it. That'll be a first down for Team Orange, the offense. Justin Barron out of Rocky Hill, Connecticut. The junior came in to make the stop. It's worth repeating, the defense playing with only one linebacker tonight because of injuries.
And I like what LaQuint Allen did there. He knew it was short yardage. He didn't kind of tiptoe through the hole, squared those shoulders up and went and got the first down.
A non-traditional 4-1-6 for Rocky Long's defense. And he's the godfather of the 3-3-5, so he was joking with us that, look, we're never going to run this even once this fall.
Yeah.
But it's good for the defensive back guys because they've got the least experience on this roster to be on the field and get as many reps as they can.
And I think that's the group, and we talked about it, the secondary, right? Probably the least depth, right? So a chance for some young players to step up going into the fall, and I think that's going to be a big part of them. We talk about the quarterbacks they're going to go against, right, in this conference. You got to be strong on the back end.
Lamson throwing on the run. Nice throw, nice catch. Damian Alford. Great grab from him. He's probably moving into a starting role.
Yeah, and made up for that drop he had earlier, but a nice job as Lamson rolls out, just kind of scramble rules. Come back to the quarterback, does a nice job, does Alford, coming back down that sideline, makes the catch, gets it to 3rd and short.
Alford Moore in the supporting cast a year ago, 20 receptions, 2 touchdowns. Expect a lot of increased production out of number 5 this coming fall.
From Canada, talked about that, Canadian pipeline.
It's funny, Dino Babers, we asked him, do you recruit one area over the other? And he goes, we recruit young men all over. We'll take you from anywhere if you fit this system.
Yeah, it's national now. When I played in the late 80s, early 90s, college is the proverbial fence around your area.
Right.
Now it's national. You're going out there.
And international, as he said,
absolutely.
too. There's Gadsden's 3rd reception.
And you see how he just comes back to the ball, catches it with his hands, picture perfect there.
I think Justin Lamson has looked at number 19 Gadsden first and foremost before. That's the first read, right?
Yeah. Good job by the defense there. Good penetration. Looked like they were going to run a reverse. Did a nice job
Caleb Okechukwu, fifth-year senior from the D.C. area, played at St. John's College for high school. Great powerhouse there.
And yeah, not a typo on your screen. He's wearing number 4 now.
Yeah, what do you make of the defensive linemen going to those single-digit numbers?
That's the thing. They love those single-digit numbers, you know?
He called himself C4. We actually got to chat with him for a while yesterday and today. He hosts the Mob podcast. He and Marlo Wax do a great job. Great to get student athletes be so transparent. They'll do 45 minutes, 50 minutes.
Yeah. Great podcast. I can tell you what, with Caleb, the numbers he has, he can wear any number.
That's true.
You know, Coach Babers will let him wear any number.
Anchors that defensive line, and they'll have their ears pinned back here on a 3rd and 19. Okechukwu busting in. He got the pressure there before Lamson got it off to LaQuint Allen. Well short of the first down marker.
But nice job by the defense, Eric. You give him that little dump down on 3rd and really long. Just come up and make sure you make a sure tackle.
Okechukwu so explosive off the edge.
Yeah, would have definitely got a hit on the quarterback there if it was live. Lamson's saying thank you for not going live tonight because that one would have hurt.
So now we'll get a quarterback change for Syracuse again. The quarterback that'll start in the fall is Garrett Schrader, transfer from Mississippi State. He played last year for the Orange, 17 passing touchdowns, 9 rushing touchdowns. He probably could have played this spring, but Dino Babers said, let's not push it. We know what he's capable of. He's gotten plenty of reps, and it's allowed a great quarterback competition to emerge for QB2. We just saw Justin Lamson. This is Carlos Del Rio, transfer from Florida.
And by the way, I thought Lamson looked really good. Made some nice throws, some good reads.
We haven't seen him in a year. Was out with that ACL injury. Del Rio Wilson handing it off to Juwan Price on first down. Price will be the secondary back behind LaQuint Allen this fall. They really like him as a 1-2 punch.
Well, and Price has really good burst, right? And he's got that great build that I like. 5'10", 202, good low center of gravity, hits the hole hard.
Del Rio Wilson, nice pocket, throws for the first time and misfires. Imari Hatcher, the intended target. See, if I'm Del Rio Wilson, I'm thinking, I know Lamson got the QB1 reps tonight, but put Gadsden back on the field for me. I mean, a lot of those receptions were going to the star tight end. They call him OG. That would have been a sack there. Great pressure. Kayvon Darton. Shot out of a cannon here. Great explosion.
Nice job by Darton as he gets underneath that block, a little rip technique, and would have gotten a sack there, no doubt.
A quick 3 and out forced by the defense. Defense definitely won that rep. We'll talk more Garrett Schrader. Hear from QB1 when we come back. The Syracuse spring game continues on ACC Network. Getting a spring sneak peek at the Syracuse spring game here. Rini and Golia, Jay Alter with you, orange and blue game. Garrett Schrader, the team captain, QB1. You won't see him on the field today, but he got plenty of reps a year ago as a starting quarterback for this team, and we're joined by Garrett Schrader now. Garrett, thanks for taking the time. First and foremost, I got to ask the question that everybody's thinking about. How are you feeling?
Man, I feel phenomenal. It's a lot of credit to our training staff, Brandon Hall and his staff, and everything's been going well. Just trying not to do too much at one time and just take it slow and trust the process.
Garrett, let me ask you now. A lot of mental reps this spring, which is good. Let you rest like we're talking about. But kind of talk about, you've had 4 different offensive coordinators in your career, I believe. And so the fact that Jason Beck comes back, right, gets the offensive coordinator job, it must have made you feel really good.
Absolutely. I've had a lot of change, and this will be my 5th OC, and coming up on my 5th year. And but luckily we'll keep the offense. And I mean, we've made a ton of progress, and we are light years ahead of where we were last year at this time. And it's been awesome to watch the young guys go out and just get better every day. And it's been a process, but I'm grateful, and we have a lot of trust in Coach Beck and what he's bringing, and the rest of the offensive staff. And it's been exciting, and it's been a process, but we've been enjoying it.
We just saw a really nice deep ball from your teammate Carlos Del Rio Wilson. What's it been like watching these guys taking the mental reps? And also, Coach Beck told us that they've kind of had to pull you back because you've been so into it, watching Lamson and Del Rio Wilson go at it this spring.
Absolutely. I mean, those guys have been doing a phenomenal job setting the standard from the quarterback room in terms of the program, and they've made huge strides from just getting better every single day. And I typically stand behind the offense, and today they keep me on the sideline, which has kind of been frustrating, but it's been good. It's been good.
Now, Garrett, you got some good weapons coming back, but one guy in particular kind of stands out. They call him OG, Oronde Gadsden. He's a matchup nightmare for defenses. Kind of talk about him as a target and what you expect for next season.
Yeah, man, he's a big guy. He's about 6'4", 6'5", and he's really shifty. And but most importantly, he's a really headsy player. He knows how to get open in zone, and he creates space man to man. And he's a matchup problem for those safeties. So it's been awesome throwing to him, and hopefully we'll be able to build on what we did last year and going forward this year.
Obviously we would have loved to see you today in the orange and blue game, but Coach Babers said taking the precaution, and the doctors assured him that you would be as good or better for the fall. I'm going to key in that or better. What are you looking to improve going into this next season?
Yeah, I mean, just mechanically, it's been tough the past couple of years. I've had this injury for a while now, and it's affected the way I played and can't really be my true self. So I feel like this will be the first year in a long time that I'll be completely healthy, and I'm really excited about that. Especially just not about me, but the guys that we have around me, and from the offensive line room to the receivers and the defense and everybody. The way everybody's been getting better, it's been awesome, and I've really been enjoying it.
Well, you can't see it, but we just saw a flea flicker.
Double reverse pass,
double reverse.
Garrett, so yeah, looked good. It was incomplete, but I like the play call.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we appreciate the time, and we'll let you get back to being, I would say, assistant quarterback coach.
Listen, we can't wait to see you next year, Garrett. Yes. ACC, some of the best quarterbacks in the country. You're one of them. Can't wait to see you next year, my man.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, Rini said it. ACC is a quarterback league and one of the best. Garrett Schrader, so excited to see him this fall. They're letting Del Rio Wilson rip it right now. A lot of these have gone incomplete, but they're letting him air it out. I was too busy looking at Schrader.
Well,
I saw someone handing it off, but it was a double reverse.
Defensive coordinator Rocky Long's probably like, what are you guys doing to me? Double reverse? I can't run my 3-3-5.
I got to say, Rocky Long's defense getting the better of the Orange offense so far in this Syracuse spring game. You mentioned that continuity, Rini. How much does it benefit this Syracuse team that they had the 3-3-5 defense already installed before Rocky Long got here?
Well, you heard Coach Long say, really, he had to make the adjustments because some of his signals were different, but the terminology was the same. So that goes a long way to really help, because when you come in and you put in a new defense like a 3-3-5 to a team that maybe ran a 4-4 or a 3-4, it is tough, but they already ran it, so they're in good shape. And I'm sure Dino Babers took that into consideration when he brought Rocky Long on as the defensive coordinator.
46-yard punt for the transfer out of Missouri, Jack Stonehouse. Dino Babers was so excited they landed this kid in the transfer portal. And we were speaking with athletic director John Wildhack in the booth over from us before the game. He said, in the ACC, you've got to win all three phases. Yeah. I loved that he said that, because Syracuse really went out, looked at the transfer portal, and prioritized a punter, and they landed an awesome one in Stonehouse.
I think out of all the kickers, the punter is the most underrated, because you're field position, right? So you need a good punter, a good coverage team, and they think they got a couple good punters here. So.
Meanwhile, all the Syracuse fans listening to us right now are thinking, we don't want to see the punter.
We're talking about punters for.
Every drive is going to be a touchdown.
The diehards know how important special teams is, especially the punter.
So back to Justin Lamson in at quarterback, and with that, the starters, at least right now on the depth chart. Now, a lot can change between. This is just the final practice 15, the culmination of 15 spring practices, a good inside look, but it's not definitive.
No, but if you're a young player, you didn't get a lot of reps last year, this is a chance to really get on film, show your effort, make a play, and put yourself in a good position before fall camp starts.
Too much on that one from Lamson, trying to go back to Alford.
You know, spring really is a lot, when it's all said and done, about player evaluation, right? Evaluate the players, and again, we've talked about it, a lot of the veterans sitting out, so the young players have a chance to show what they can do. As Coach Babers would say, some young cats out there.
Really enjoyed our conversation with Coach Babers going in to year number 8. They had an incredible start a year ago, 6-0. Was in that 7th game on the road against Clemson. Another great pass to Arande Gadsden. He has been the top target and then some, and takes it all the way in for a touchdown. The defense is saying the officials blew that one dead.
They did. Well, I mean, so here's the matchup issue we're talking about. He had a corner on him, Jason Simmons, right? A smaller corner. Gadsden's so big, and he's actually going to hold Gadsden. He's holding him around the waist, which is pass interference in and of itself. The flag doesn't come out, but Gadsden still makes the catch, and then you see him spin, and you see that speed with that big body.
He's got a lot of talent. Back to what I was saying, so 6-0, you're ranked number 14 in the country. You give Clemson everything they can handle in their plays. And then some injuries come. They lost 7 of their top 22 after starting 6-0, 22 starters, that is. I still think there's a lot of positive momentum, a lot of talent coming back, including Garrett Schrader, who we just spoke to. Where do you think the Orange lines up in the ACC?
Well, and here's the one thing we didn't talk about is no more divisions in the ACC. Just all together, right? So the top 2 teams at the end of the year, I think they're middle of the pack, right? You know, last week I did the North Carolina spring game, and I said on air there, I think Florida State's going to win the ACC. That's my way too early prediction. I think Clemson's going to be back, and North Carolina's a team that looks good. But I think, you know, Syracuse is in a good position if they can get some of these young players to step, get some depth, but their schedule looks tough. The middle of that schedule.
So you go 3 weeks in a row playing Clemson, then at North Carolina, at Florida State. That's a really tough stretch for the Orange. But I do think they're going to surprise people.
But I mean, that stretch right there arguably is the first, second, and third best teams in the conference. But, you know, they may not be there by the time that part of the season comes, but you got to beat them, right? They're in the conference. So
now that said, nobody thought Syracuse would start 6-0 a year ago. And again, you return a lot of talent, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, and your quarterback, Garrett Schrader. I just think there's some momentum. There's some positivity after going 7-5, making a bowl game, returning all these guys. And you're number 8 for Dino Babers. He feels like they can win a lot more games than maybe the local media thinks they will.
And since we're talking schedule, right, they open up Colgate at home, Western Michigan home. You got to go 2-0. You have to go 2-0.
No doubt about that.
And then you go to Purdue, right? That's going to be a tough game. A team you beat last year.
Big rematch. That was one of the best college football games all season. Went down to the wire.
If you can win that game on the road, you get Army at home. You know, not an easy game, but one you should win. You're 4-0 going up against Clemson.
You might have College Game Day in town for that game.
So, you know, talking schedule, it's all about the start for Syracuse next year. You got to get off to a good start.
And LaQuint Allen, the sophomore out of Millville, New Jersey, he's got huge shoes to fill with Sean Tucker departing. They really like what he brings to the table. He got some good reps a year ago behind Tucker, but now really steps into the spotlight.
And I think they like kind of that two-headed monster approach of LaQuint Allen and Juwan Price. So look for those two to get the lion's share of the carries.
Lamson right on the money. First touchdown of the night, Isaiah Jones. Great grab. 33-yard strike.
Nice route by Jones, good separation, and a beautiful ball by Justin Lamson. Puts it right there. Nice catch, and I'm with you, Jay. If you're Carlos Del Rio Wilson, you're like, Lamson has the ones in there, baby. Come on, but nice throw by Lamson. Nice route by Jones, and a good hookup for the touchdown.
Jones, a nice big body, 6'4", 205. And Syracuse, when you look at their wide receivers or their tight end, Arande Gatson, they've got some really nice size that can expose some secondaries.
You have 6'4", 6'5" receivers and tight ends that can run. That's problems for those smaller defensive backs. Because Jones, he's from Central Florida as well, Cocoa High School. So he's from Florida, he can run.
Carlos Del Rio Wilson on the carry. He was on to the 42-yard line.
That we were talking about last season. 6-0 start, 5-2 at the JMA Wireless Dome. You make a bowl game, the Pinstripe Bowl in Yankee Stadium. Lost to Minnesota. I think the one thing I wanted to key on, Rini, 17 players made their first collegiate start, and a lot of those players are coming back.
Yeah, and the reason why 17 players made their first collegiate start, they had a lot of injuries last year. Now, coaches don't like to use injuries as an excuse. Dino Babers did not. But it's just a fact of the game, right? A lot of injuries and a lot of key injuries last year that they had to deal with.
And when you're ranked number 14 in the country, 6-0, and those injuries come, you're frustrated. But Dino Babers was reflective and said, you know what? I was mad at the time, but now I'm really happy that we had that experience because it's really going to help us for this coming season. Almost an interception. Great read. Malcolm Falk did a really nice job reading the eyes of Del Rio Wilson.
Yeah, Falk playing that safety position, jumps on this one. Nice job breaking it up, almost gets the interception. But getting back to what you said, Jay, as well, though. Yeah, the season started great. Didn't quite finish the way they wanted, but they fought through it, right? They kept playing hard. They make it to a bowl game, so a lot to build on, as you talked about earlier.
And particularly with this defense. Now, the question mark is the secondary. But you look at that front six in this 3-3-5, the front six is really promising.
Yeah, I mean, I think the defensive line, in my opinion, no doubt is the strength of that defensive unit. Some really good linebackers as well. And yeah, the back end's going to get tested. There's no doubt about it. Again, with the quarterbacks they're going to face, a lot of these guys will be on islands.
The officials are earning it tonight. We saw a flag, so this is a face mask here.
I think they could have let that go. It just kind of came across a little bit, but
it's a spring game.
The refs are knocking the cobwebs off as well.
Yeah, the refs are earning it, just like the players out there.
Yeah, Porter's like, I didn't grab it. It just kind of came across it. And actually, by rule, that wasn't a face mask.
Quick hitter to the flat. Mario Escobar gets his first touch. He's a team favorite, Dino Babers told us. He runs really hard out of Long Island, played his high school football at St. Anthony's, and he offers a different threat.
And he's a big special teams player.
Yes.
He's that guy that's going to make plays on special teams. You see him catching the ball out of the backfield, you'll love that. So, a lot of these guys like Mario Escobar, they're kind of fighting for that third running back spot when we come back in the fall. But the fact that Escobar has nice hands out of the backfield, plays a lot of special teams, bodes well.
Sticking with the ground game and Escobar. On the last play, the tackle was made by a fifth-year senior, Yosuke Sugano. Take a look, 31 in blue. One of the great stories in all of college football. He was born in Japan. One of 4 college football players to come out of Japan. He started his college career at St. Francis, PA, FCS level, and now he's playing at the FBS level, transferring up to Syracuse. Awesome story.
Great story, great effort. You see him come inside out there to make that tackle on Escobar, so you just love that effort.
And there's the freshman shooting out David Omar Piola out of Baltimore, Maryland, and he's a great story too. We're getting a lot of great stories on defense making plays, Rainey, because he should be a senior in high school right now. He enrolled early after signing in the early signing period, and look at that, getting on the field already, making a big play.
And kids like that are so young, getting that experience, and then once they get in the weight room, right, get into that strength and conditioning program, they're going to get a lot more muscle on them. He's going to be a good one.
Omo Pariola, name to keep an eye on. Del Rio Wilson maybe taking advantage there of the fact you can't touch the quarterback. There's a flag down as well.
But he's showing you the wheels he has, and he's, Del Rio Wilson's a good-sized quarterback, 6'2", 232, and he's got some good speed when he gets outside of the pocket.
Due to injuries, Del Rio Wilson got thrust into a couple of games last season, and Dino Babers told us he's just improved so much. Those were reps that he had to take, and now in the spring, getting those quality reps, and you've seen his game be a lot more consistent.
Yeah, and it is. It's about all the reps, and we talked about it. If Garrett Schrader was here this spring, Carlos Del Rio Wilson, his reps would have been very limited, but now he's splitting them, did split them with Justin Lamson this entire spring, and I think both of them made huge strides.
Throwing on a play action, right in the breadbasket. Hatcher hangs on.
And good concentration by Hatcher, because the safety's sitting there, right? And Tommy Porter was right there and gave him a little love for a teammate.
Omo Pariola, one of 4 early enrollees for Syracuse, and that amazes me, Rini. You should be getting ready for your senior prom right now, and instead you're on a college campus already getting quality reps. Rocky Long sends the kitchen sink on a 3rd and 12, a blitz package there for the Orange. And as Jaquez
being into that role and just making a lot of plays. I love to see it.
Now, Marlo, fortunately for the offense, we're not keeping any kind of score because Rini and I were just talking. It seems like the defense is getting the better of Team Orange, the offense so far tonight.
Yeah, for sure. You know that's always the plan. Defense, we love to go out there and mob and just always you beat the offense. We really just love competing. It's fun, though.
Now talk about Rocky Long, new defensive coordinator. Now the good thing, Marlo, is you're going to be running the same defense. I'm sure he's going to have some tweaks, but just kind of talk about this spring, what you've learned from him, and what we can expect in the fall.
Really, he can just do it all. He's a guru. He knows it all. We all know that he was around when the defense was first made. He knows a lot of different schemes, and he's going to help us just attack different offenses during the season. I just can't wait.
Now, Marlo, you host the Mob podcast. You're extremely well-spoken, so don't take offense to me correcting you here. He wasn't around when defense was invented.
No,
it was the 3-3-5 defense.
My bad. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're good.
My bad. You know that's what I meant.
No, he's been coaching for 50 years, but he was in the room when they invented the 3-3-5.
Sure. Listen, I meant to say the defense.
And Marlo, I think you should get him on the Mob podcast. I think with all that knowledge, he would be a great guest.
What do you think? Would Coach Long do well?
Do you have coaches on, or is that, off limits?
No, we haven't had a coach yet, but Coach Long, he's definitely going to be valid. He's definitely going to be a part of the Mob. He could definitely come on anytime he wants.
He's got some great stories. He actually was telling us that he coached against Dino Babers.
Yeah.
Long was at New Mexico. Babers was playing for Hawaii in 1979?
79, yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's a lot of football he knows, and I'm just happy to pick his brain this season and get ready for it.
Now, Marlo, what I love about you, what people probably don't know, you told us, we talked to you the last couple of days, you were kind of shy at first, talking on camera, doing the podcast. You look great, my man. I mean, you're great.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I've definitely been the laid-back guy out of everybody. Never was the guy in front of the camera, never speaking, but I guess it's just how it is now. I definitely feel like I got better and more comfortable with it for sure.
I probably shouldn't give you this encouragement because you're probably going to take my job in like 3 or 4 years. So,
No. Y'all doing great at this job, man. I love how y'all do it and appreciate y'all coming out here for us.
We're having a lot of fun. Great to get an inside look at the team for the fall. What have you noticed this spring? What would you say your biggest takeaway is with this group?
Just like how we said, just the young guys stepping in, just seeing how prepared they are, seeing how hungry they are, just to go out there and take a different role and just being ready to be that guy and just taking lead for the next guys next to them.
And Jay mentioned it earlier, but I just want to say congratulations being named team captain. I know what an honor that is and to be a leader, so congrats on that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's definitely a dream come true, something I've been thinking about since I was young, but now I'm definitely grateful for all my guys just voted me for that. Thank you.
And you're going to hear more from Marlo Wax and his teammate Caleb Okechukwu coming up at halftime. You're going to get a sneak preview of Season 2 of the Mob podcast. Marlo, we appreciate the time.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all coming out. Y'all do a great job and we really have fun.
Thanks, Marlo. Good luck next year, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Now, Marlo Wax, don't be fooled. He flashes that smile. He speaks
he'll
really
hit
well.
ya.
He is a monster
Like
on
a bullet.
the field.
Like
in
a bullet.
between the lines, you do not want to get hit by Marlo Wax, number 2 in blue.
Yeah, 6'2", 240, runs like a running back, and he'll hit you.
Future pro, too.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just fits the NFL versatility-wise, right?
Absolutely.
We haven't talked a ton about the offensive line tonight, Rini, and they are without starting right guard Chris Bleich. I want maybe to take the next couple of plays to assess the 5 up front for the Orange, because that's probably the biggest question mark on offense.
And the hardest thing for that unit is you need to have continuity, cohesiveness, right? You need to play together, 5 working as one. So it can be hard when you have injuries, guys step out. So the biggest thing for that unit is to be healthy and ready to go in fall camp, get that continuity and cohesiveness I talked about, and really just get going. And so, again, I think that unit, integral part. I mean, you can have all the great skilled players you want. You got to win the game up front on offense. So that unit's going to be big for Syracuse next year.
Good protection there. Lamson got it away, but a little behind. Trevor Pena. Pena will be a top target for the Orange this coming fall. This one just a little behind him.
And Pena was a player this spring, I think that, coaches knew his ability. He stepped up. I think he's had a nice spring, and he's going to be very productive next year.
Had had 22 receptions a year ago as a sophomore. Stepping into a much bigger role come this fall. Pressure coming again. Lamson knocked down at the line of scrimmage. This defensive line getting a really nice push tonight.
Yeah, and when you get that push, you put the hands up, right? You know, getting back to wide receivers, though, Jay, someone of that group is going to have a standout year. And you want to know why? Because so much attention is going to be placed on Oronde Gadsden by defenses. There's going to be holes for other receivers to exploit that. So some of these guys are going to have some big games out of that wide receiving core for Syracuse.
Now the defense gets another win there, a 3rd down, and Rocky Long again dialing up some pressure. He's been frustrating the quarterbacks tonight in the Syracuse spring game. We'll step aside as the orange and blue game rolls on. Syracuse spring game, orange and blue. The offense in orange, the defense in blue. Little sneak peek, if you will, of what's to come in the fall of 2023. This is a really proud program, great history. And going into the College Football Hall of Fame, Dwight Freeney, a 2023 College Football Hall of Fame inductee. Played for the Orange from 1998 to 2001. First team All-American. 34 career sacks, and obviously a storied NFL career as well. Won a Super Bowl, 3-time All-Pro.
16 NFL seasons. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, Dwight Freeney had a phenomenal career here at Syracuse, and then really a phenomenal career in the NFL as well. So well-deserved. Congratulations to him.
You grew up in Rochester. Was recruited to Syracuse in the 90s when they were really a perennial power. And you said growing up in the state of New York, if you were a great player in this state, you didn't think twice. You just went to Syracuse.
Yeah, and you know, and I grew up in the Dick McPherson era, right? The late, great Coach Mack, phenomenal, is in the Hall of Fame himself. And he took pride in that. If there was a good player in New York State, he was keeping them in New York State and bringing them to Syracuse. And a lot of great players. You know, I grew up in Rochester, which is Section 5 just down the road. If you were a great player in Section 5, you came to Syracuse.
Coach Mack, God rest his soul.
Yep.
Greeny, no ill will, even though he pulled your scholarship after you tore your ACL senior year, right?
Yeah, I mean, I hurt my knee, but in odd twist of fate, it was Coach Mack was the reason I got a scholarship at UMass. He called then Coach Jim Reed, who had coached under him for years, and said, hey, give this guy a scholarship. So I still got a scholarship because of Syracuse, so it's all good.
We were talking about Dwight Freeney getting inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. You're next. You look at what Rini Ngolia did over his 4 years at UMass. It stacks up.
We'll see. I'll slide you that 20 after the game, Jay. Thank
Only
you
20?
Well, you know. Well, if I get in.
At a 0.
If I get in, we'll see. No, listen, just being on the ballot.
Exactly.
Sounds cliche, but just being on the ballot is an honor.
Tremendous honor.
Yeah, we'll see. You never know.
When you think of Syracuse greats in that era, who stand out?
Well, you know, Donovan McNabb,
of course,
comes out. You know, and I'm a little older, so the running back before me, David Walker, who's from Rochester, New York, I always watched him play. Just a lot of great players, and again, they were national powers in the early '90s, and obviously that's what everyone aspires for this program to get back there. Those were the Big East days, of course, but now in the ACC, they have the ability and the schedule to get there.
3rd and 4, which is really the best rep you could have if you're an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator in a spring game, because both the offense wants to move the chains, the defense wants to get that stop. Offense picks it up there.
Man, good route by Kendall Long. Nice catch using those hands. Good quick throw. And you're right, 3rd and short, 3rd and medium, you got to pick those up to keep those drives alive. And it was a nice throw there.
Really nice rep for both units. You just want to be able to simulate that. Not that this is a real game because there's no tackling, but with fans in the stands, and they've been going at it for 15 practices this spring, but this one probably has a little more juice to it, right, Rainey?
Well, again, it's player evaluation, right? So the coaches are going to watch. This is the last film they're going to watch until fall season, right? Until fall camp for that player evaluation. So, you know, you want to make some plays. You want to stand out. And you just want to put yourself in a really good position going into fall camp.
And the fourth quarterback on the depth chart, Luke McPhail, redshirt sophomore out of Boston, Massachusetts, in the game right now for the Orange. Pressure coming on the run. McPhail did really well to escape the pocket, deliver a really well thrown ball. Kyle Acker, the reception.
Hey, good job by McPhail. Climbed that ladder in the pocket. Little happy feet, but he does a nice job to compose himself. Rolls out of the pocket and throws a nice ball on the sideline. Nice catch by Acker. Takes a big hit. Out of bounds. Gets the third manageable here.
Once again, great game rep in this spring game for both offense and defense. They blew it dead. Defense got in there. Dennis Jacquez again, that's his second hurry of the night.
Another good throw by McPhail, though, on third down. Even though they blew it dead, finished the throw, got it to his receiver in stride, so nice job there. And he's saying, listen, Coach, I would have got it off. I wasn't getting sacked.
Yes, I think all the quarterbacks tonight are thinking a little bit of a quick whistle from the official.
But you want that,
of
right?
course,
You just don't want a freak injury, and Dino knows that, and that's why quick whistle.
Dino Babers, all smiles, 55 plays. That'll end the quote-unquote first half, if you will. Anything particular stand out to you, Rainey?
Yeah, I thought the play of Justin Lamson was really good. But, of course, when you're throwing it to OG, I think that helps. But it'll be interesting to see what Dino has to say.
We'll probably take a 10-minute break and come back with 55 or so more plays as we're joined by the head coach, Dino Babers. Coach, curious, your impressions of those 55 plays.
Well, first of all, I thought had some plays made in the inside by Aronde, but we kind of figured that was going to happen. But not too bad. We got to get the quarterbacks to settle down a little bit. We saw one of the corners missed a really nice interception over there. And then it's a little bit when you're playing thud football with the ones, you really don't see the contact fumbles and the breakups because of the physicality of the game, and that's what makes the game so great is the legal physicality of it.
Now, Coach, talking about the quarterbacks, I thought Lamson looked good. Of course, he had Gatson as a big target out there, but I thought he looked pretty good early on.
Yeah, I thought he did some things. Both of them need to settle down a little bit for me, though. I mean, we have high expectations, and those guys are going to meet every last one of them. But so high standards there.
You've been coaching offense for a long time, Dino, and usually you guys set up at a 3-3-5. Rocky Long dialing up the 4-1-6 tonight. Have you ever gone against something like that?
Yeah, in practice.
for the last 14 practices. Thanks, Coach. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Dino Babers, the Orange head coach, about midway through this Syracuse spring game. Getting some really good reps this spring. A sneak preview of what's to come this fall for the Orange. A beautiful night in Syracuse, New York. We are at halftime of the 2023 Syracuse football orange and blue spring game. Rini and Golia, Jay Alter with you. Rini, the NFL draft just 6 days away, April 27th on ESPN. Syracuse could have 4 guys picked, which would be the most ever under Dino Babers, and Mikel Jones leads the way.
Yeah, and I think Mikel Jones has a really good chance because of his athleticism. So a player like Jones, linebacker, but he's going to play special teams too, right, to make a roster, and very active. If you look at the productivity in his career, phenomenal. You know, I did his game in 2021 against Pitt. He had 16 tackles in that game. He's all over the place, but again, I think his athleticism, and the one thing I love about Mikel Jones is didn't get invited to the combine, didn't let it bother him, got in that good frame of mind, worried about his pro day, did excellent at his pro day. So I think he's in a real good position, has an excellent chance of getting drafted.
Yeah, you mentioned the versatility that a guy like that brings to the table. Another guy to keep your eye on, Matthew Bergeron, offensive lineman, and the pros, the scouts, they really like his size and his fit for the NFL. You see projected in the second round.
You know, from Canada, nice pipeline from Canada to Syracuse with a lot of good players. And The thing that makes Bergeron good is his versatility. Now, he's a tackle, okay? He's athletic enough to play tackle, about 6'5", 315, but he can play guard as well, which is very important for these offensive linemen. The NFL like that, when you can play guard or tackle.
Dino Babers has been doing this a long time. He told us yesterday that Bergeron could be the highest ever selected player. That's a 35-year track.
Yeah, he's definitely like a top 5 offensive tackle in this draft.
Garrett Williams, also another stud on Syracuse's defense from a year ago. A total ball hawk in the secondary.
The most important thing for Garrett Williams, he had the ACL injury.
Right.
Flying colors. All the teams looked at him. Doctors looked at him. He's got a clean bill of health. He's a kid with his athleticism, Jay, and his ball hawking skills, as you mentioned. Good opportunity going in the middle rounds. I really believe Garrett Williams will be drafted.
And the fourth guy that you could hear from Syracuse is Sean Tucker, stud running back. He did not participate in the Orange Pro Day, but he's got a workout plan here in Syracuse on Monday. So keep an eye out for 4 names that could come off the board for Syracuse. That would be a record under Dino Babers in one draft class. And we'll be joined by Garrett Williams sometime in the second half as the orange and blue game continues from Syracuse. JMA Wireless Dome, the home to Syracuse football, the spring game. Getting a great preview of what's to come in the fall of 2023. We've talked a lot about Syracuse, Rini, but the ACC coming into this fall, Florida State seems like they've really found their footing. So many really strong quarterbacks, 6 returning quarterbacks, and all of them with NFL potential.
Yeah, I mean, in today's game, you got to have, it starts a quarterback, right? You have to have that difference maker, that QB1, and so many teams in the ACC have really good quarterbacks. It's going to be a phenomenal season next year in the ACC.
And Syracuse and Garrett Schrader, one of those teams returning a quarterback, and so much help with the continuity when you can keep your offensive system and keep your quarterback. You take a look at the scrimmage. So one half in the book, so 40-minute half to go. We're not keeping score. This is just about getting reps.
It is. Again, it's about player evaluation, getting those reps in there, putting something good on tape for the coaches to evaluate before they come back for fall camp.
And before you see them on Sundays, you could see them in a Syracuse spring game. There's Kingsley Jonathan, who played for the Orange a couple of years ago, now playing for the Buffalo Bills. It's great when those guys come back, and a reminder that it all starts here. We just talked about it at halftime, but you could hear 4 Orange names called 6 days from now when the NFL draft starts on ESPN, April 27th. Luke McPhail back out there. 6'4", 205, redshirt sophomore out of Boston, Massachusetts, 4th string quarterback.
And you talked about the continuity early.
Yes.
About offense. I knew Garrett Schrader had played for a bunch of offensive coordinators, but 5, he said. That's tough for a quarterback. 5 different offensive coordinators. So the fact that Jason Beck is back, still a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, is a big deal.
Intended pass for Kendall Long, broken up by Jeremiah Wilson.
Now they gave the catch.
Oh, it was caught.
Yeah. Gonna look at it here. Kendall Long's gonna go up, high point this ball. Good throw by McPhail. Great concentration by Kendall Long.
I thought Wilson might have punched it out at the end there, but that's a really nice job by Long to finish that grab.
And that's where, Jeremiah Wilson, 24, you just got to turn around at the last second and play that ball. Does it? And then a nice reception.
Red zone rep now for the Orange offense. Barreling forward. Mufu Parkman, true freshman out of Newark, New Jersey. Mufu, again, one of the 4 early enrollees for the Orange. He probably wants it again. He can taste that end zone for the first time in the Syracuse uniform.
Definitely wants again. You can tell by how hard he ran that time. He carried the ball, so let's see if Coach Baber gives it to him again. And these are very meaningful reps for these young players.
Their first ever reps for some of them with fans in the stands. The spring ball, the culmination of 15 practices. Parkman, great job. Gets into the end zone for the first of many touchdowns in a Syracuse uniform. And he should be getting ready for a senior prom right now, and instead celebrating a spring game touchdown.
Well, listen, they may not be officially keeping score, but Parkman's.
But he is.
He is, absolutely. He's going to call home all his friends and family, say, I scored a touchdown in the spring game. A nice little subtle, great vision there. Bends it back, finds that little hole, bends it back to the inside.
And he didn't want to go down.
Yeah, lower those shoulders and get in the end zone. I mean, until his tight end, David Clement, hit him, he didn't go down.
Reminds me of a young Rini Ngolia.
Long time ago.
You're good to at least put on social media, I'd say 4 or 5 times a year, your old college highlights.
Listen, I might be 51 years old. I would have got it in the end zone there. Give me the rock.
Dino said he would give it to you on a 4th and 1.
That's right. He said he'd give it to me a couple times.
And I thought to myself, well, that would be a turnover on downs. Miscommunication there.
But, you know, with COVID, I might have another year of eligibility.
That's true.
So I could probably give him a call. I did always want to come to Syracuse.
You did. And you had a scholarship offer before the knee injury.
Now, tuition's a little expensive here, so
That's true.
I wouldn't be coming back unless it was a scholarship.
You mentioned to me earlier.
Great university, by the way.
You were part of the practice squad with the Buffalo Bills, and they've expanded the practice squads. You said you'd still be playing on a practice squad if they had expanded practice squads back now.
Maybe not quite right now at 51, but, you know, I'm Brady-like in my mind. Kendall Long, another one of those receivers.
Yeah.
You talked about it earlier, Jay. Good size. The wide receiving group, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". Good size.
I really like this wide receiver group. And when you return a quarterback, again, he's only as good as his weapons. Well, Syracuse has a lot of them at his disposal.
And again, I said this earlier, but because the attention that Oronde Gadsden is going to get from defenses, you're going to see some guys, Damian Alford, Isaiah Jones, Kendall Long, we've been talking about, Trevor Pena. Some of these guys are going to be the beneficiaries of that next year and going to have some big games.
And early in the season last year, a lot of emphasis on Sean Tucker in the running game. As the season grew on, Jason Beck, the new offensive coordinator, who's a quarterback coach a year ago, said they really expanded the playbook, and it really benefited Schrader because he's a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah.
So when you get the passing game going, it really opens up not just Schrader to run, but the running game.
And I know as a former running back, it probably frustrated Sean Tucker because every running back wants the ball every time, right? So, but I like what they did at the end of the season there, opened it up a little bit, and you're right, it benefited Schrader.
Contested deep ball there in the end zone. Kendall Long wanted a pass interference call.
Yeah, Cornell Perry there, nice and physical. That's what you want from your DBs. Love that physicality there. Ripped the ball away at the end. Good coverage there by Perry.
Now, Dino Babers calling out the field goal unit again. We saw 3 attempts in the first half of the spring game from young Brady Denneberg. Big shoes to fill with Andre Schmidt. Lou Grozer Award winner moving on to likely at least a camp tryout.
Should get a shot,
NFL.
absolutely.
46-yard attempt for Denneberg. He was 1 of 3 in the first half. That one hit the upright, no good. All the coaches at Denneberg really impressed them.
Yeah, they love him.
Here's the thing. Denneberg's probably thinking, how about 36? How about 39? They've been forcing him into 49 and 46-yard attempts here. This one from straight away, and it missed again.
I'll put a little pressure on the young man.
Again, these are 15 practices they have all spring. This is the only one that's televised.
Well, and if you're a Cuse fan, too, you're saying to yourself, good, get the misses out of the way now.
Are you saying good?
Do it in spring games. Hammer that one.
Plenty of leg, too. No question on the leg. That would have been good from 56, let alone 46. When we come back, we'll be joined by Syracuse Athletic Director John Wildhack, the Syracuse Spring Game 2023, getting a preview of what's to come this fall. Syracuse Spring Game rolls on. The offense in orange, the defense in blue, and a special guest, the Athletic Director John Wildhack. Former colleague over at ESPN before becoming the Syracuse Athletic Director here. And John, we really appreciate you taking the time. I'm curious, from your vantage point, what's the state of the Syracuse football team coming off a great season, start 6-0, make a bowl game, headed into next fall?
Optimism, I think, Jay, is the right word. We've got a lot of talent coming back, a lot of returning production, both sides of the ball. We were relatively young last year.
Very.
And, we lost some good players. I'm not downplaying that whatsoever, but there's a lot of talent coming back. A lot of young guys, particularly on defense, got reps last year. They're bigger, they're stronger this year, particularly on the defensive line. So I think optimism is the right word to describe the environment of the program.
Yeah, they showed a stat earlier in the first half, or we did. 17 players made their first collegiate start last year, and a lot of them are coming back. So maybe at the time you're thinking, man, we're so banged up, the injuries are killing us, but all those reps are going to start to pay dividends.
Right, and they were starting against some pretty good teams too. When you look at our schedule, we had Clemson, Notre Dame, Pittsburgh, back to back to back. We'd throw a little Florida State in there, that type of thing. So it was our young guys, it was baptism by fire.
And John, Jay called you a former colleague. You're a former boss, okay? You were a boss at ESPN. Talk about the facility upgrades and everything that's going into that, because I know a lot of money's going in to the athletic department here.
Well, it's a huge part of it is the Lally Athletics Complex. We debuted back in February a couple months ago our new entry and welcoming way, and we will ask for approval in May to proceed with the new football complex and football operations center. You can see some renderings there. It's phenomenal. It's totally all new construction. It's built with the student athlete, their experience in mind. So just upgrade in terms of sports medicine, locker room, strength, conditioning, you name it. Players lounge, cafeteria, everything. So it's really designed, and we've got input from our athletes as well, to be really athlete-friendly so that we give them everything they need to have the success that they want to have and we want them to have. So it's a huge, huge initiative. And Rini, I think when you combine that with what we've done at the Dome and then the Ensley Indoor Practice Facility, we've got a package of facilities that can be very competitive.
Which you have to be in this day and age.
Correct.
I mean, especially just even in the ACC conference with, everyone with the great facilities. So this is going to be right in par with everyone in the country, really.
Absolutely, and that's what we want. And again, it's athlete-centric, athlete-focused, and it's the next really big step forward. We've also invested in the infrastructure, the program, in terms of kind of player personnel, recruiting, that type of thing. Real emphasis on what we're doing in terms of nutrition. We were doing a lot beforehand. We've emphasized even more recovery, all with the athlete in mind. Because as you know, you played. All right, you wake up Sunday, you're sore. What can we do from a recovery standpoint, right, to get you back? That's part of what we're investing in technology. That's part of what the new football operations center will be.
And we show the renderings of what's to come, and there's not really a timetable per se on that yet, but it's just the next step of what has been a concerted effort with facilities here at the Dome, like you mentioned, over in the athletic complex. The other thing in terms of improvements, and I guess the changing landscape for the student athletes, is now name, image, and likeness. What are the steps Syracuse has taken on that front?
We have a collective Athletes Who Care, and they are working primarily with football and men's and women's lacrosse. The co-founder, Cliff Ensley, last 3-sport letter winner at Syracuse, Howie Fansteel Life Trustee. They've done a great job, and what it is, it's all about community service and engagement for our players. So our players, they've gone down, they've worked at the Samaritan Center, they've worked at the food shelter, they've worked at the Boys and Girls Club. So they give back to our community. So it makes our community better, gives an opportunity for our players to engage with our community, and at the same time, it gives them, some NIL compensation.
You mentioned men's and women's lacrosse, also part of that initiative. The women's lacrosse team, #1 team in the nation right now. You won a national championship in men's soccer earlier this year. Could we see another national championship brought home to Syracuse?
Well, I sure hope so. We got a long ways to go, but this team, they've been fun to watch.
Yes.
They played great. Last night, BC, great fourth quarter. All credit to them. But we've got as good a shot as anybody else. And Kayla, trainer, and her staff, they've done a fantastic job. We have great leadership, great culture on the team. I told Megan Tyrell a couple weeks ago that the culture on their team reminds me of the culture of the men's soccer team. It's all about the collective greatness, not individual brilliance, but the collective greatness of a team. And that's what championship teams are all about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious, John, your opinion. ACC this year football, no, just one division, no separate divisions. Your thoughts on that?
I'm a proponent of that because I think it's good that we play each other more frequently. I think that'll be good for the conference. I think it'll be good for our fans. I think it'll be good for our media partner, for ESPN. So I'm in favor. I'm a big favor, big fan of it.
Well, John Wildhack, great to hear the insight from the athletic director. We're going to step aside here after some more field goal attempts. And, the one last point I would make is when you took over as athletic director, it was to bring, stability and trophies back to Syracuse. And you've done that. Obviously, the upgraded facilities have been excellent as well. But how great is it to kind of feel that winning spirit back in the building?
Well, it's great, and it's a credit to the entire athletic department. And I have the privilege of leading it. But one of the things we've tried to do is create a culture of where we all support one another. Yeah. And it was great last night. We had a bunch of football. Schrader was at the women's lacrosse game, a bunch of football players, other sports as well. So when we support our peers, we've really emphasized that, and that has an impact on the team that's playing that night.
Brady Dennenberg getting some extended action tonight. His
extra practice for Brady, right?
Yeah, exactly. You came over. He's got a huge leg. You've seen it in practice. And for a young kicker, it's just about getting that consistency from accuracy.
And Bob Ligashevsky, our special teams coordinator, he's absolutely one of the best. He won a Super Bowl ring with the Steelers. And you get Bob continue to work with Brady through the spring, through the summer. He'll be a really good kicker by fall.
Well, he drilled all 3 of those. So Brady Dennenberg getting some great reps here at the Syracuse spring game. John Wildhack, we appreciate the time.
Great to see you. Appreciate it. Welcome back to campus.
Thank you.
Welcome back to campus. Thank you. Go Orange.
Go Orange. Really looking forward to seeing how this team looks in the fall, and appreciate the insight, John. Back here at the Syracuse spring football game, and unfortunately for Syracuse soccer coach Ian McIntyre, Syracuse football, but not Syracuse football.
This is my football too, though. Now I used to play here way back in. You used to play soccer games here many years ago.
Did you really? When was that?
This was in the 90s. Yeah, mid 90s. I've played a few games in here. So we brought football to the football stadium.
I buried the lead, though. Ian McIntyre, fresh off a national championship. We were just talking with your boss, John Wildhack, the athletic director, and he was so proud of the fact that this group came together, brought a national championship to Syracuse. You've been the head coach here for a long time. What did it mean to get to the mountaintop?
It was very special to bring a national championship home to Syracuse, and this community has been with us every step of the journey, and there it is. That ball hit the back of the net. Anthony Sinclair, our captain, and you can see what it meant to the guys. And we saw the videos here in the dome as well. It meant a lot to our community.
Now, I read some quotes, and you'll have to verify. He would not have been your first choice of taking a penalty, but he buried it.
He wouldn't have been my 35th choice. But look, it was written. Our captain, our spiritual leader, making that play, and look, he's going to go down as the guy who made the penalty that secured a national championship.
Coach, now I got a couple daughters that play soccer, so I'm kind of a soccer dad. I got a daughter that plays college soccer down in South Florida, so I know the sport a little bit. Congratulations on the national championship. I'm curious, though, and maybe I'm wrong, so if I'm off base, tell me. When you think national championships and you think soccer powers, you don't really think Syracuse. So how have you done with recruiting? Because you've brought some phenomenal players here and obviously won a national championship.
Yes, look, winning doesn't hurt. So it's good to have that. And look, there was a lot of eyes on that national championship run and a year where we won the ACC championship as well. So it certainly it helps, and the success that some of our players have had moving on into the pro world as well. So look, we're still looking for players who take tremendous pride in representing Syracuse University in this part of central New York. And when we find the right caliber of player, and you know, if we get everyone buying in and moving in the right direction, you can accomplish something truly special.
It's a great soccer conference too, the ACC, right? I mean, the competition's phenomenal.
Oh, it's brutal. It's in an awesome way for all of our sports here. It's a real privilege to be competing in the ACC. You're playing, you know, if you're a student athlete, you get to play against the best players in the country week in, week out. And as coaches, we get to compete against the best.
No doubt.
Joined right now by Syracuse soccer head coach Ian McIntyre, fresh off a national championship this fall. I heard you're getting your rings this weekend. So the ring ceremony is this weekend. Was there any thought, being British, to go winner's medal instead of rings?
I'll be honest with you, the ring concept is a very American concept. So the ring, look, I know how big it is, and for our guys, it's awesome. It's going to be a special night. And to be able to share that with our local community, our alumni, we've got a ton of alums in town this weekend, family members. It's going to be a really special night.
Do the production crew, anybody from the production crew get rings by chance?
I think everyone, right? It's,
give them anyone that was a part of it, right?
That's it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't expect you to remember, but you were the only college coach that would come on my college radio show with John Paul Chunga back, What Rhymes with Orange, back in the college days. We had so much fun with you. So this is a real full circle moment for me to have you up at the booth.
Oh, it's a real privilege to be here. And you've done okay for yourself.
He was a prima donna back then, but he's humbled a little bit now.
I didn't want to say that on camera.
That's awesome. Coach Mac, great to see you. Hey, congratulations on all the success.
Thanks for having me.
Congrats, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, great conversation about Syracuse soccer. We'll be back to wrap up the Syracuse spring game when we come back. It's almost like a game of musical chairs up here in the broadcast booth. We've had Athletic Director John Wildhack, Syracuse soccer coach Ian McIntyre, fresh off the national championship, and now Garrett Williams. All Orange fans remembers this guy wreaking havoc in the secondary, and now getting ready for the NFL draft just 6 days away. I'm curious, since you took that last snap playing for Syracuse to now, what's the draft process been like for you?
Yeah, it's been a lot of talking, a lot of meetings, a lot of talking about, got to talk about yourself some, talking about things you do well. You got to be able to talk about your defense, your teammates, things like that. So you got to be able to speak highly of yourself and others, and also be honest about the things that you might need to improve on, because teams want to see if you're honest about that as well, because there's no such thing as a perfect player. So it's been really cool kind of learning about yourself and then learning about how the NFL kind of works as well in the process.
And the knee's great. You feel good, right? And like flying colors, right? No problems at all with the knee, right?
Yeah, I'm progressing really well.
Awesome.
All the teams, I think that's helped me a lot. All the teams are really encouraged about all my medical rechecks and things like that. So, for me, I just can't wait to get back to playing ball, doing my thing.
Now, did you lose a bet or something? You're wearing a Marlo Wax T-shirt? Right?
Nah, I just want to.
That's what it looks like.
My guy. Yeah,
there you go. You're supporting him.
That's for my guy, man, Marlo Wax.
Well, you were part of a defense that was top 25 back-to-back years. Obviously you're moving on to the next level in the NFL, but a lot of these guys are returning. How impressed are you with this Syracuse defense, and what should we be, positive about going into next fall?
Yeah, so when I'm not traveling, I've been at all the practices, so I've been able to see them day in, day out. Their good days, their bad days, and I think the biggest thing I can speak of is the leadership and stay consistent. Even though Marlo Wax didn't do spring, he was a very big leader. Him, Caleb Ogachukwu, Justin Barron, those three being the main returners coming back, have done a really good job of keeping the group together, keeping the mob mentality that we preached last year to be the main thing still. And I think you're starting to see it now with the aggression, the excitement that the guys are playing with. So I'm looking forward to it a lot, and I think there's a lot of good things to look forward to, and a lot of newcomers as well who are coming in their own right now.
Now, Garrett, how are the nerves? The draft's less than a week away. Now, I did my homework, and people are saying maybe middle rounds. What are you hearing from the NFL teams, and just how do you feel?
Yeah, so for me, they're projecting third and early fourth round, and I feel good. You know, I feel like any team that takes me will be smart, and any team that doesn't take me will be stupid. You know? So,
I like that attitude.
Good
you
answer.
know, so I feel pretty good, pretty comfortable because I've done everything I can control. You know, you can't control who takes you and how the things go, but I just know when I get my chance, I'm going to make the most of it.
Good for you.
How did playing here at Syracuse prepare you for the next level?
Yeah, so it was being around a lot of like-minded guys. So I was lucky to come in and be around guys like Andre Sisco, Trill Williams, Ifeoma Ofonwu, and the Deuce Chestnuts, the Jahads, and then the Justin Barrett. You know, it's a lot of guys to be able to keep you in the same mindset, stay focused, and want to reach the right goals and not get distracted. And I think the biggest thing they taught me here was, like, if you want to reach your goals, you got to put in the extra work. You know, you got to do more than the average person, and you got to do more than what even yourself might want to do. You know, you want to reach the stars and try to get what you want.
And, you know, not only are you most likely going to get drafted, you get a chance to have a couple other guys drafted as well.
Yeah.
It could be a big draft class for Syracuse.
Yeah, and I think that's the coolest part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Being able to share the experience with a lot of other guys who I came up with playing together since we were freshmen. So, you know, the jump we made from our freshman year to now, it's a lot. So it's been a lot of fun, and I just can't wait to see it all come together for all of us.
No doubt.
Well, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Garrett Williams hears his name called, headed from Syracuse to the NFL draft. As Rainey mentioned, one of 4 names that will likely be called in the NFL draft. Garrett, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us.
Can't
man.
wait to watch on Sundays, Garrett.
Thank you.
And you heard him. This Syracuse defense is for real. They're not going anywhere.
No, sir. They're going to be ready.
Well, what a great night this has been. Not just getting a great inside look of what's to come in fall 2023 for this Syracuse football team, but hearing from so many different guests that we've rolled through. Really, really enjoyed it, Rainey.
Yeah, it's been great, and that's really what this spring game's about. Young guys, player evaluation, and then getting to do interviews, talking to people. The interview with John Wildhack was great.
Yeah, great insight.
Ian McIntyre, awesome, you know. So, yeah, it's good stuff tonight.
When you talk Syracuse 2023, I think the headline will be this defense. Top 25 each of the last 2 seasons. If this team's going to surprise people in the ACC, it'll be defensively led, I think.
And again, we talked about it earlier, imperative that they get off to a good start.
Yes. We didn't get to see Garrett Schrader tonight, but he will be QB1 come the fall. Justin Lamson, Carlos Del Rio, Wilson have been battling to see who will back up Schrader. You've liked Lamson tonight.
I have. Now, and you brought this up earlier. He was in there with the ones. He's not now, but he was in that first drive, and he looked good. He made some nice reads, some good throws.
Schrader, a dual threat quarterback, and Dino Babers, when he took the job, it was all about being the fastest team in the country. He's toned a little bit of that down, and I think with Schrader, maybe you ramp that back up again. A quarterback that's now been in your system for 2 seasons and certainly capable of running the football as well. Great grab here.
Well, again, the receivers do a nice job. Hatcher comes back to the football. That's what you want to do. Takes the hit, holds on. And so, yeah, you know, and one of the takeaways from this spring game is I think the depth that they're going to have at the wide receiver position, I think it's deep.
I agree with you.
I think you got some big, talented receivers. So, yeah, look out for that group next year.
Quentin Allen back in there. He will be the starting running back this fall for the Orange. Hard runner, 6 foot, 200 out of New Jersey. Everyone's focused on the schedule, though. You've said a strong start is necessary. You say it has to be 3-0.
Yeah, well, you got to win those 2 for sure. I mean, Purdue's going to be a tough game going on the road. So, yes, if you can get to 3-0, then I think you can beat Army or 4-0 going into Clemson. I mean, that's ideal if you're a Syracuse fan. 4-0 going against Clemson. At worst, 3-1.
And that's a team that traditionally under Dino Babers, they've played really well.
Against Clemson, absolutely.
They have.
Yes.
Last year could have beaten them on the road, had them on the ropes late in the second half. Del Rio Wilson back in now. It's true, Dino Babers, this wasn't just coach speak. These 2 guys really have gone 50-50 this spring.
Yeah, and listen, they've both done really nice things. And so once they pick it back up in fall camp, they're in a good position.
I think what's so tough for Syracuse is the same thing that every AC school has to deal with, and it's just a really, really talented league, quarterback heavy. Would you say it's the best conference for quarterbacks going into next fall?
Yeah, I think top to bottom, because we've had some transfers within the conference. So yeah, really talented. I mean, and Hartman leaves Wake Forest, goes to Notre Dame. I consider Notre Dame a quasi-ACC team, because of the amount of ACC teams they play. So yeah, quarterback play is really good, and the fact that there's just one division now, right? There's not two divisions. Just at the end of the day, the top two teams are gonna go at it in the ACC championship game.
And how will the offensive line hold up over the course of a grueling ACC season? Obviously, the injury bug ended up being a big storyline for Syracuse last year. They lost 7 of their top 22.
And the offensive line question mark, if you will, that's the big one, right?
Because there's not a lot of depth there.
Yeah.
I think Syracuse is happy with those front 5 if everybody stays healthy, but the depth will be a question mark.
So Escobar with that catch. He's caught a few nice balls out of the backfield tonight. Good run after the catch.
It could be a nice third down receiving back. And the Orange offense punches it into the end zone again. Hatcher, that's his second touchdown grab of the night.
Yeah, and I was very impressed with Amari Hatcher tonight as well. And so that'd be a great one to end this scrimmage on if you're Dino Babers. Nice touchdown reception by Hatcher.
Now you called it, Rainey. Dino just blew the whistle. That does it for the 2023 Syracuse spring game. And even though the defense dominated early, the Team Orange, the offense, did really well in the second half.
And again, I think I was most impressed with the play of the wide receivers tonight. Something to really build on.
Well, spring football is all about getting a sneak preview of what's to come this fall. Dino Babers' team, they are ready to roll. They shocked everybody a year ago, starting out 6-0. They'd love to do it again, putting the ACC on notice. Garrett Schrader will be ready this fall. A loaded defense. We appreciate everybody who joined us taking in the 2023 Syracuse spring football game. For Rini and Golia, I'm Jay Alter saying so long.